Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Yakinakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson, and this is one that I had, the thoughts brewing up last night on it, and I saw this video. It might have been last night, but it might have been a little bit before that. And I saw this video, and I've been seeing these videos of the past few years, man. And our people, I don't know necessarily what this is going to be titled. It might just be titled this. Our people love helping the white man make us look stupid as hell. Right? Just dumb. And a lot of our people don't know shit. And with that, they do shit that exemplifies them not knowing shit. Right? And with that, it makes us look dumb as hell. Right? It makes our people look like they're uneducated. They don't know anything about science. They don't know anything about regular biological bullshit. All right? They don't know nothing. And when you have a people like that is not willing to learn, it's very easy, okay? It's very easy for the so-called white man to make us look like we're, not intelligent, like we're dumb, like we can't learn or something like that, right? And Jake fucking just exudes ignorance, man, to the point where, and our people are very intelligent, all right, and I mean all of our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're called today under those covering casts, were really the Israelites, right, the Lord's chosen people, right? We should be smart, but our people are just dumb, all right? They're just, they got a some type of learning disability, with a spiritual disability, with, they're so cut off that, it's really because they're cut off from the Lord. All right, because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And again, a lot of these people are 2/3, which are, again, not the Lord's chosen of the chosen. Okay, because amongst his chosen Israelites, of course, you got the 140, the elect, and then even amongst the elect, you have the 144,000. All right, so, but when you're cut off from the Lord, when the Lord's not dealing with you because of your wickedness, you can't have any type of knowledge. Good knowledge. Or you say, well, some of these other people do. Well, yeah, sometimes they do, but on the grand scale of things, they don't. If you look at these individuals that are maintaining some aspect of intelligence, you start talking to these individuals, usually they're really not even that smart. Okay, they're really not even that smart at all. They might have read a couple books. They can, repeat some things, but try to get them to break it down, and they won't be able to explain it. All right, why? That's because they really don't know anything. They know how to parrot knowledge that they learned in college or in high school, or wherever they happen to take these classes and these courses. But when you ask them to actually break down what they're saying, they won't be able to do it. All right, they won't be able to do it because it's like in this truth, as the apostles say, of Great Millstone. They say, don't be a regurgitation specialist. All right, what does it mean to regurgitate? That means you swallow something and, you don't really know what it means, and you throw it back up. That's a regurgitation specialist. Someone will really regurgitate. It's like a bird. A bird, chewed something up and spat it, and you didn't really do any of the chewing yourself. You just swallowed it down, all right, like a baby bird. And because of that, you can't digest it. It's in you, but you don't know what it means, okay? For example, what would be a good example of that? Okay, knowing the Father and the Son's name, but not being able to break the Father and the Son's name down. All right, what their names mean. All right, well, I know the names Yahweh. Well, what does it mean, though? Well, I don't know. Well, the Father's name means He is. He exists, the existing one. All right, that's what it means. And the Son's name, Yahweh Shai, means the deliverer. He is. He's the one who delivers, the anointed. Okay, that's what his name means. Well, the anointed is Hamashiach, Salakia. But his name, Yahweh Shai, is the deliverer. He is the deliverer, one who delivers. All right. And if you go into the literary words, Yeshai is like deliverance. Let me see. So if you break it down like literally, it would be He is deliverance. Let me show you. So if you go into, we'll go to the Blue Letter Bible, and you just type in Jesus, all right, because that's the name that's going to be under. You type that in, boom, you get this, and you go and look at the word Jesus, but which of course is not his name. Then it's going to give you a Greek word that says Iesus, which again is not his name, because again, Jesus is an anglicized version of a Greek version that is it's an incorrect translation of an incorrect translation, right? Jesus is an incorrect translation of Iesus, and Iesus is an incorrect translation of Yahushai. Okay, so they'll say here it's Yahushua, but it's not. And we break it down plenty of times. There's lessons on the page, and there's even if you go onto my playlist, there's lessons for new believers, like a quick start guide. You can go on there and you can look at the name breakdown, right? But it comes from the Father's name, Yahweh. All right, as you see, some people say Jehovah. That's how you get Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, it's Yahweh, not Jehovah. But Yahweh means the existing one. All right, he exists. All right, or it could also mean, it comes from this, which means it exists. All right, or it means is. All right, to be, to be, right, to be. So to be, all right. That's literally what the Lord's name means, the existing one. He exists. All right, to be. That's him. But that part is in the Son's name as well. The he is part, Yahweh Shai, or if you it's literal. If you put it literally without the phonetic adjustments, you're gonna get Yahweh Shawai. Same with the Father, you're gonna get Yahweh, but again, that's not how they'd be pronounced. That's not how you would correctly pronounce them or write them in Hebrew. Okay, but Yahushai, all right, which means they say it means Jehovah's salvation, but really, if you get down to this word right here, it means to be delivered. All right, deliver. All right, to save, to deliver. All right, to be delivered. Yeah, so not deliverance, but to deliver. All right, to be saved, to be delivered, or to save, to deliver. So his name would be literally, he delivers, he saves. All right, that's the Son's name. All right, salvation. So he is salvation. All right. So that's what it goes back to. But as it is he is the deliverer. All right, the one who delivers. All right, and his Father's name is He is. All right, the existing one. He is, because he is. All right, there's nothing more that needs to be broken down there for the Father's name. He is the existing one of all time. He is. Right? He doesn't need more of a explanation that he is, right? He exists, right? And that's a powerful, powerful name if you think about it. But anyway, our people don't understand any of these things. I can't remember the tangent I was going on, but our people don't understand any of these things. Again, I was talking about breaking down the name. You can go and do that and show you what that means. And I wanted to prove that I could do that because, again, the scripture says what? Prove all things. All right. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. So whenever you say something like that, you got to prove it. So I went and proved it. If you want more information, again, I have on my page, I created it just recently. If you go down to the bottom somewhere, if you go into playlists, okay, you'll see quick start for new believers. All right, you can go there, and right at the top, the first thing should be the breakdowns of the names. Yep, name of the Father, the name of Yahushua, the importance of the true names, and you can't be a true Israelite and call on Jesus. There you go. So boom, bam. Those are what you got, and there's a bunch of other information in there as well that's good. It's like I said, I may add to it as we go, but I just want basic fundamentals in there that are integral. All right, when you come in. The first things you should be learning, is the name, because you can't even begin to walk down this path without the name. You can't walk in the path calling on Jesus. You have to have the names Yahweh and Yahushai. But yeah, so with the Holy Spirit, all right, and that's the Lord's Spirit, the Spirit of the Lord that He pours upon us, we are granted actual knowledge, not just being regurgitation specialists. We can actually tell you about things. We can learn better than your average man out there in the world. Yes, we can even learn, worldly knowledge better than they can, right? Because all intelligence, all brain function, all right, comes of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. It all comes of the Lord. So someone that's dealing with the Lord, or much better, someone who has the Lord dealing with them, they're gonna have essentially like an expansion pack on the mind. Right, they're gonna essentially have a higher capacity battery, all right, built in them than the average man. Okay, and we're gifted this knowledge, and when we talk about this knowledge and this truth and understanding, yes, it is about the Holy Scriptures and about Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and the things of the past, but it's also about things that are, you know, in the Bible, but that aren't necessarily in the Bible, if you know what I mean. For example, it talks about the secret counsel of the wicked. Well, it's not going to exactly tell you who those people are, so you have to be able to be good at deducing and deduction, right? You know, what is deduction? All right, what does it mean to be able to deduce something? All right, to deduce means to arrive at a logical conclusion or opinion by analyzing available information, clues, or known facts. All right, and a GMS proverb that they use. All right, again, I say they because I'm not in GMS, but that's who I learn from, right? If you want the truth, learn from them, or those that are learning from them, right? Because nobody else is going to give it to you. There's all sorts of issues and fucking weirdo shit going on in the other camps. I mean, you look at TCG Ministries, and they're stepping back and doing all this shit. So it's everything, right? It's just everything with these guys. And then IUIC, ISUPK, they go off the least out of all the other camps, but they still go off. All right, over there, it's more like they're running a gym half the time. And they're too open with outsiders. You know, they'll just give away all the information and go on news broadcasts and interview with YouTubers and just give all the information away that makes it really easy to try to demonize the truth. And you're not supposed to be doing that, all right? You're not just supposed to be just giving the precious knowledge away to, you know, to Edomites and heathens so they can, you know, use that and flip it on you to demonize this truth. All right, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to safeguard this truth. But anyway, but they still go off. And then IUIC, man. They come on, man. Israel United in Christ. That should tell you all you fucking need to know about those guys. And they don't got anything. And really, that IUIC is just hanging on a fucking thread at this point. And really, it's just waiting to come down when the chip comes out. If Bishop Nathaniel is going to say if GMS was right or not. That's what it's coming down to. And I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know how that's going to go. So, I know the Apostle Tahar is betting on him, you know, what's the word? I don't know. I guess turning a new leaf, saying, okay, I was wrong and doing all this. Because again, there's you know, there's a lot of belief that Bishop Nathaniel could very well be a part of the elect. All right, but there's other people that don't believe that. And it's just one of those things where if he is of the elect, he's going to have to repent from that and turn back and admit that GMS was right all along, right? But GMS proverb, like I was saying, is to understand the history, you got to understand the mystery, you got to know the history, or to understand the history, you got to know the mystery, right? Those two things are concurrent with each other. They're interjectable. To understand the mystery, you got to know the history, and to understand the history, you got to know the mystery. Why do those things go back and forth? Well, you're not going to be able to understand this truth unless you don't understand the history, and you're not going to be able to understand the history unless you know this truth, right? So they're like as they say in science, all right, covalent. All right, covalent meaning. All right, it's a chemical bond. But anyway, there's two. You know, they're interlinked. All right, they're interlinked. Okay, so they're a chemical bond where atoms share pairs of electrons. So instead of sharing pairs of electrons, all right, they're sharing a library of knowledge, okay? And you can't really access the one without the other, right? So again, it's going to be very hard for someone who's very, 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 very dumb that doesn't know anything to come into the truth, all right? It can happen, all right? The Lord can have you rapid learn, and you know, it's the same thing. You know, you're not going to be able to unless you have the truth, you're not going to be able to learn the history. All right, so there's two things that are covalent, like that covalent bond, right? They instead of the shared electrons, they share this library of wealth of knowledge. And again, you can't access that without one or the other. Okay, you're not gonna. These historians, they don't really know it because they don't have the truth. All right, and then the truth. All right, well, unless you know a little bit about something, it's, you know, you're gonna have a very hard time, right? But how we say, well, how can you get the truth then if you don't have the history? If you need the history to understand the truth, well, it's one of those things where they're learned at the same time. All right, 9 times out of 10, you might know a little something, but they learn alongside each other. There's something that grows alongside. Right, they're like two plants growing at the same time. All right, and they grow up alongside each other, and you gain that knowledge. It's not like one or the other. Right, they grow alongside each other. They exist within each other. But to deduce, all right, as part of using that knowledge that the Lord gives us, is to arrive at a logical conclusion or opinion by analyzing available information, clues, or known facts. So in this truth, what you'll see us do is we'll analyze available information, clues, or known facts. All right, CIA documents, things that Esau has done in the past. All right, shit like the Tulsa massacre that we just talked about yesterday. That's not necessarily something in the Bible, but the Bible does speak of things like that with Esau and his bloodthirstiness, right? See how those things coincide. All right, we can prove the fact that Esau is the so-called white man by using the Bible and going into the historical accounts of how this man is. All right, the colonization, where he was, what he did, tracing his line back to Rome, which goes back to Herod the Edomite, which of course was when the Edomites integrated with the Romans, and of course the Romans integrated with the European world, and the Europeans, eventually became, what we now they would just be called Europeans, but they're really the so-called white people, right? So, and then most importantly, what is the very specific variety of the Europeans who are still Edomites and England, all right, that came over from those areas in places like France and places like Spain and did all their colonization, right? And ultimately with Christopher Columbus, bringing Hebrew translators because he went on a search to find the lost tribes of Israel. He knew. All right, but they don't teach you that in school. They don't teach you, did you know that Christopher Columbus, the original reason he started the expedition is because he was out to find the lost tribes of Israel, and he thinks that they were dwelling here in America? They never tell you that. They're never going to tell you that, but it's not bullshit. You can look that up. All right, watch. We already got deduce. Is it true that... Watch, I'll show you first. Why did Christopher Columbus come to America? Here it is. Christopher Columbus sailed west in 1492 to find a direct sea route to Asia. Europeans desperately wanted this path for main reasons. It was a lucrative trade, wealth and prestige, religious expansion. Okay? Now let's go to another one. All right? It might be saved now, and it might try to, pull a little thing. Did Christopher Columbus sail to America because he thought there were lost tribes of Israel there? And if it says anything other than yes, then they're bullshitting. They're bullshitting. No, he did not sail to America with a specific intention of finding the lost tribes of Israel. However, looking for them was a secondary hope driven by the belief that he was sailing to Asia. That's what they say. He was looking for a faster trade route. All right, there you go. Sure. Christopher believed he would arrive in Asia. He expected to encounter people mentioned in the biblical and historical texts. He brought alongside a translator, Luis de Torres, who spoke Hebrew, Chaldean, and Arabic. All right, specifically to communicate with Jewish merchants. Yeah, that's what they say. It's bullshit, though. All right, it's bullshit. All right, that's part of their cover-up scheme. But anyway, our people love helping the so-called white man make us look stupid. We're going to get into it. All right, and with that, like I was saying, the Lord increases both our spiritual and our worldly knowledge, all right, by boosting our wisdom and intelligence. All right, he gives us a higher battery. He gives us a higher capacity. He essentially gives us a bigger hard drive, okay? A bigger hard drive. And on your phone, storage, you know how you can have like 126 gigabytes of storage, and once you're out, you're out? Well, the Lord can give us 256, a terabyte. He can increase that storage limit space. Right? For example, think about it as a bookshelf. You can only hold 10 books on that shelf. Most people, well, the Lord can just, and now all of a sudden you can hold 20. And once that gets full, now you can hold 40. Right? He can do that for us. And with that, it allows us to hold spiritual knowledge, but it also allows us to hold worldly knowledge as well. And that's one of the things that you'll see in this truth is not only will you increase in spiritual knowledge, you'll also increase in worldly knowledge. You'll be able to know things, You'll be able to know things more. And the Lord does that. All right, so that's one thing that is very important to keep into consideration in this truth is that he's also going to expand your mind. All right, when your mind is expanded, well, just like a building is expanded, you got more room for stuff. Okay, so anyway, this is a video called Dave's Killer Bread and Nature's Own Sticks Together. And this is a common occurrence that we see with, specifically from what I've seen, so-called black folks, all right? And I'm not sure why this is a thing going on, but they'll find something out, like they don't really, our people don't really understand science. And I say, well, you don't look black, so white. Well, again, because I go back to the tribe of Benjamin. I always mention that because I'm always waiting for some motherfucker to buck up, because there's always individuals out there. I had one guy tell you, you're not from the tribes of Israel. You have this so and so DNA. Basically, I wasn't from the real tribes of Israel. I wasn't from the fake tribes of Israel, or the black folk. I'm from the real tribes of Israel. That's the white people. The white people are the real Israel. It was a long time ago, and this guy, it's hilarious because he was right and it was wrong, because he was like, I would guess by looking at you that you have Celtic ancestry. Well, I do have Celtic ancestry, but my Celtic ancestry goes back to the Moors, all right, who were so-called Negroes. So, you know, my actual surname, all right, goes back into two broken up parts, Black and Lord. And I don't believe for a moment that they were, say, even if they were, well, those are two broken up, it doesn't mean Black Lord. It does mean Black Lord, because think about this. If it can mean two things, black or Lord, that means that the word for Lord is the same as the word for black. Think about that. That's all you need to know about that. Use your mind sometime, all right? But anyway, I've seen it overwhelmingly happen with our people, all right? Specifically so-called Negroes. And again, our people are the Israelites, the Lord's chosen people, all right? The only people he loves on the face of the earth, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Specifically right now, seeing a lot of this shit happening with the so-called Negroes, black folk, right? With usually specifically the black woman. Finding out, like, you know, some half-ass science experiment where they really don't understand it. That's like if I don't know, if like I put a piece of paper in my mouth, started chewing it up, it's not even dissolving. It's not even dissolving. It's just staying in my mouth. See, paper should break up. Paper should break up. No, that's not scientifically backed. All right, that's not. And again, science is bullshit, but some science is bullshit. Some science is true. There's just fact. If you understand certain chemicals about certain things that we're gonna get into here in a minute, then all things start to make a little bit more sense. Anyway, so let's go play this video. This is a black woman that's got two pieces of bread sitting in some water and wondering why they haven't completely dissolved. Anyway, here you go.
This is part 2. I let the bread sit in this water all day long. Hey, that's that bread right there.
And then, of course, you got the Jake man, all right, with dreadlocks and his infinite lack of wisdom.
Here we are, right here, the organic good seed.
They've been
and there
sold
we
out.
are, our lettuce now. Now it's falling apart, but look at that. It still comes right back together.
Look, now it's falling apart. Look, I'll let her finish.
And now this one over here, let's see. Oh, this one's solid. Look at this. Look at this. This is ridiculous. You guys see that?
It's like
This is
Dave's
crazy.
worse. It's like Dave's
This
worse.
is. Are we still gonna eat bread like this, you guys? Are
Yes.
we still gonna eat bread like this?
Yes, if you eat bread, because again, I eat bread. Bread isn't the most healthy for you. All right, the body can't really break down modern wheat. All right, biblical wheat was a lot different, but modern wheat has its issues in general. It doesn't matter if you make it yourself. The wheat itself has issues, right? It's just been modified and modified and modified and modified and modified and modified, and you know, the modern wheat is just not. It's not good pure wheat. But anyway, you see her. She got two pieces of bread in the water, wondering why they're not dissolving. And this is the type of shit that makes our people look like fucking retards. All right, just one step above. Right, just one fucking step. All right, just one step above wearing a helmet and having knee pads on. All right, and I don't know what Jake. I don't know if they have some like. I really don't know what it is. All right, I've tried to figure out what it is. I can't comprehend. I don't really understand what it is. I guess it's just dumb people doing dumb shit. And the dumbest people have the loudest voices, all right? And the dumb shit, like, again, as George Carlin said, think about how dumb the average person is, and then realize half of them are dumber than that, all right? And when you have a society that's full of fucking moronic inbred dumbasses, all right? This is the type of shit that's going to go very viral. It's the type of shit, I mean, look, this got 11,000 likes. All right, 11,000 likes. But if you go over to one of the Apostles' video, even one of the head apostles, all right, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Harl, pull up both their pages and go look. Their most recent video, 3.3 thousand views, and that's only because it has Deacon Akah in it, all right? It's a controversial video, all right? That's the only reason fucking people are watching it, is not because they want the real edification on it. They want to be entertained, and it's controversy. That's why they're gonna watch it, all right? That's why they're gonna watch it. Cause watch, look at this one. Yahushua had to sacrifice himself on the cross for us to get the name. 354 views. See, nobody gives a shit about that. Right? Fuck that. Why would I ever want to watch that? I want to watch, oh my God, there's a Deacon Akah. Oh my God. Oh, that's what they want to watch. All right? That's what they want to watch because they want to be entertained. Same thing. You go over to the Apostles page here and look, 1.9, and that's 5 months ago. Let's look at one that's relatively new. 3 days ago, 638 views. And these are very, very edifying lessons. These are very informed men of the Lord, right? That Yahweh Shem Yahushua is directly working through. But nobody wants to see that, but you have 11,000 people that'll watch a fucking piece of bread in the goddamn water. Why this shit ain't falling apart, man? Why this shit ain't falling apart, man? Well, it's almost like bread has things in it to keep it from fucking falling apart, you moron. All right, and that's the problem. Our people love making the white man make us look stupid. We don't even have to do anything. Because we have a whole bunch of people out here ready to make us look dumb, right? We don't have to do anything. We can sit back and everybody will formulate that we're retards because, well, we got another couple. Again, we're all lumped in together. We don't have to do anything at all, right? We can just sit back and you'll have a bunch of these fucking dullard ass, reprobate, fucking ragamuffin ass. I don't even know, man. I don't even know because I dropped out of school. All right. Honestly, I dropped out of school in sophomore year. So these I don't even know that. How are you dumber than me? All right. How are you dumber than me? I mean, like, and these people went through and this shows, and that also shows you that high school really doesn't teach you anything as you ought to know, right? Because on an average basis, the people that I walk into, I'm either at least on the same level of intelligence or higher than. Okay, and I'm not saying that as a bragging point or being proud in any way. I'm just saying that these motherfuckers, some of these people went to college, high school, all the way through college. It's like some of them went to high school, some of them were on the honor roll, and then they were in college. And meanwhile, I'll say something and they won't be able to understand it. What the fuck happened? That shows you that, and I'm not saying that to be proud. I'm showing you that. I'm using that as an example. Again, the only example I can use is myself. That shows you that the schools aren't really teaching you anything as you ought to know. All right, they're not teaching you anything that's really foundational. Okay, because how could I drop out at 16 years old, sophomore year, and just fucking sit around playing World of Warcraft, all right, and still be able to hold higher intellectual conversations that these motherfuckers won't even be able to understand, all right? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is going on? How dumb has society gotten to, right? Because I was told, you drop out, you're going to be real dumb, you're never going to get anywhere. What the fuck? At this day and age, I mean, shit. It's perplexing. I don't know how it works either, man. Shit. Because I feel like a dumb motherfucker, and these motherfuckers are walking around just gleefully thinking they're smart or something. I'm like, oh my God, man. I honestly, I'm being sincere. Like, I feel like shit, man. I'm getting older, I feel like I'm getting slower down in the mind. Sometimes I can't remember how to spell a word, or I forget a word, or sometimes there's something I remember talking about, and now all of a sudden I can't fucking remember the story, but these motherfuckers are walking around. There was that video that went around. It was going viral of these individuals that were being asked to read a word off of a not a cue card. What are those little things called? Like little pieces. What are those things called? See, there's that word. I don't use them a lot either, so that's another excuse why I can't remember what they were. What are those things called? Like little memo. They're not sticky notes, but they're like index cards, I think. Yeah, like the guy was walking around with index cards. All right, guy with index card sentence. Let's see if I can see it. Yeah, look, here it is. And look, a lot of it's Jake, man. A lot of it's Jake. And people say, oh, it's this white man. It's white man. He's trying to make it look bad. Well, the guy that makes the videos is black.
She wore a suit, clothes.
I'm gonna shut up. I was.
Get that index card for me.
clothes that were. Who's this for?
This is fine. This is our people. Our people love helping the white man make us look stupid. All right. And really, because a lot of our people are fucking stupid at the end of the day. But again, when you look stupid, they don't. Again, you got to realize they lump us all in together. All right. There's a bunch of intelligent Jake out there. But once you have 5 dumb ones, all of us are dumb. Right. All of us are dumb. And this just shows you, man, these are people in high school. They don't know anything. These are seniors. All right. And the only word when this first came out, the only word I didn't specifically know was gauche. All right, but I do know what it means now. All right, I do know what it means now. Gauche means basically out of place, not necessarily appropriate. Okay, Gauche. All right, which is one of those things. All right, it means someone or something that's socially awkward, tactless, clumsy, or lacking social grace. In this case, it would mean not necessarily appropriate. Okay, something that was lacking class. All right, lacking class. All right, classless. You know, basically, it's kind of slutty, and not appropriate, right? So what the word here is she wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. Okay, which again, a lot of people can't break down. She wore a silhouette. What is a silhouette? The outline, the shadow of. You're not seeing her physical body, but you're seeing the cast of it. Usually a shadow of clothes that were extraordinary, above and beyond. All right, better than your average. Okay, but somewhat gauche. All right, again, you know, inappropriate, lacking, you know, social grace. All right, so let's go and look up extraordinary. Ordinary. Something that goes far beyond what is regular, right? Customary or average. It's you know, blowing it out the water. People can't even read. And again, not only can people not read that, they can't break it down. They don't know what it means.
Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
And the only word I'll give them the pass on is gauche, because when I heard that, I said, I don't know that word. That word's not really used a lot, right? At least on the West Coast, I've never heard anybody say, oh, that's quite gauche. Never.
Were a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
These people can't fucking read. All right, the kids in high school, they can't fucking read. None of these kids can read. And you're saying, oh, this is just on. No. No. All right. My cousin, she's so-called, you know, well, she could be a Jake for all I know. But she can't read for shit either. All right? She can't read. She'll be like, what is this? I'm like, oh my God, man, these kids can't fucking read. These kids don't know anything, and they've gotten a perfect society. Congratulations, Esau. Let's all give a round of applause to Esau and Amalek. Round of applause to Esau and Amalek. All right, through the Lord, of course, got to give him credit. Through the Lord, you have managed to breed a perfect generation of morons that will not be able to use critical thinking skills. They'll not be able to read the Bible like that. They won't be able to, and again, all this new generation, they're done. There's pretty much no elect in them at all. There might be a few, but there's, you know, most of these people are going to get destroyed. All right, like latter generations had more chances, but this generation, this is the, you know, this Gen Alpha, late Gen Z. All right, and I say late Gen Z because they fucking didn't break up things right. You can be Gen Z all the way back from 97. All right, you have Gen Z that were alive during 9/11 and Gen Z that wasn't. That should have been broken up. All right, you should have all the way up into 97. 97 was when the Gen Z started. No, that should have a 99. I would say after 2001. All right, or after 2000, boom, that's millennial. Millennial runs all the way to 2000. All right, because again, the millennium, right? Millennium. When was the new millennium? 2000. Y2K. Right. So if you're a millennial, that should run all the way into 2000. All right, and then after 2000, that should be a separate group of people. Right. Gen Z. Right, but the way Esau breaks things up is fucking retarded. And they, you know, again, because the Gen Z, and then the 97 doesn't really fit, so there's zillennials. All right, well that's fucking stupid. Just extend millennial up into 2000, cut everybody else off. All right, and because again, after that, you could say, oh, well, they were alive. Yeah, but you're going to be one. All right? You were one during 9/11. So, I mean, but anyway, where was I? Anyway, you know, these kids can't fucking read, man. These kids can't fucking read.
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore. Bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a. Oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were. Bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I didn't.
She wore a silhouette of clothes
Silhouette?
that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche. All right, now what does that mean?
I have no idea. Like his clothes was nice or something like that. She wore a. I don't know what this shit say. I don't know what this shit say. I don't know what this shit say. I can't read it. Can't read it. Can't read it. Can't.
So they now have taken critical thinking away because the kids can't read. So now they can't read up. Now they can't go and look up MK Ultra. They can't go and get Wikipedia and go and read. It says MK Ultra was an illegal human experimentation program designed to be undertaken. What an illegal experimentation program designed to be undertaken by the Central Intelligence Agency to develop provocateurs and identify. I don't know what this shit means. All right, congratulations. All right, once you have that, damn. All right, you done created a good one. All right, through the Lord, of course, because you couldn't have done it without Him. He allowed you to do that. All right, because again, those people are none of His. It says MK Ultra was an illegal human experimentation program designed to be undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used in altering human behavior. What does this mean? The CIA, all right, the government, United States government, all right, was manufacturing and planning ways, all right, they could use drugs, okay, to experiment on humans to be able to alter their behavior. Really, ultimately, what they were doing was trying to make people more, what's the word I want to use? Basically, they, I don't want to word it, because I don't want to word it stupidly. Basically, to make them more pliable, all right? Basically, I say and you do, all right? Uncritical to information provided them, or uncritical to tasks that they were, told to do. Go and shoot this guy. I'm not going to do that. Well, how can we make this guy more pliable? How can we make him bendable in our hands? How can we, use him like silly putty and make him do what we want to do? Maybe we could use drugs, right? That's what they wanted to do. So, but now you have a society that can't even read this shit. So they won't even know what it's talking about. It's the intelligent agency, prosecutors, drug. Oh shit, they was fucking with drugs. Oh, for real. Stupid, man. Stupid. All right, stupid. And also the other thing is you got to learn how to deduct. You got to use another thing that's going to help you with your vocabulary in English is being able to use. I just used the word earlier. Basically deducing, like I said, but there's another word for it. Not deducing, but like probability, what a word's gonna mean, or understanding your etymology. All right, so look, cryptonym. All right, what is a cryptonym? I don't really know what a cryptonym is, but context cues. All right, context cues or context clues. All right. That's for example, I was using a context clue earlier because my wife was reading something and she was like, what's this word mean? And then I said, oh, this word, and she pronounced it wrong. I said, oh, that's that word. And I was like, I didn't even read the page, but I assumed that's what it was by using context clues by what she was reading. That's another thing that you need to use when you're reading is context clues. All right, so crypto means hidden. All right, so nym. Well, we know we have things like antonyms. All right, so what is nym? All right, I don't necessarily know what nym is, NYM, but I can go to etymology and I can type in NYM. What is, we can go and do antonym. I actually forgot the T, but antonyms. It comes from two words. nomen, nomen, all right, which means name, okay, nomen, all right, like nomen omen. So name. So cryptonym would mean hidden name, all right. So MK. So the MK Ultra is a cryptonym, basically mean a hidden name. It's a they didn't want to give away what the experiment was, so they used MK Ultra. It's like a hidden name. It's a hidden acronym, okay. And what is an acronym? Not an antonym, but an acronym. Acronym. Okay, an acronym is an abbreviation formed from the initial letters of a multi-word phrase and pronounced like a single word. NASA, all right, which is like what is NASA? It's like National Aeronautics Space Agency or something like that. Or no, it's not NASA. It's not national, because I remember somebody was talking about that. Said it's not national. What is now? I'm gonna drive myself mad. What is NASA? NASA. It is National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Okay. You have the NFL, all right, National Football League, all right, NBA, National Basketball Association, all these different things, right? They're abbreviations, okay? So, like FML, all right, would be Fuck My Life, or you could be TTYL, Talk to You Later. Those are all acronyms, okay? So a CIA cryptonym is what? It is a code name or code word used by the CIA to refer to projects, operations, or persons. And not always, it's not always an acronym, okay? But it can be, all right? MK is an arbitrary prefix standing for the opposite technical service. Ultra is a word, you know. So anyway, Operation, like Operation Milking Cow, or Operation Wild Squirrel. They'll come up with different, like, cryptonyms. Those are really cryptonyms that the U.S. Military uses, because they don't want to give away what the whole plot was. They'll be like Operation Garden Fire. All right, well, what is that? You know, well, fire's in the name, so we can kind of give it away, but where's the garden, right? But anyway, these people wouldn't be able to deduce those things. All right, you got to be able to deduce. All right, let's see this one.
Can you read this?
Oh yeah, it's the other thing. They can't read. A lot of people can't read cursive. Okay, this says, life cannot be changed in a minute, but the decision taken in a minute changes everything in life. So always stay calm. And then it's cut off by their Instagram thing. There's like, I'll have hangs and stuff times, because like I'll be like, oh, that's a always. But depending on how cursive it is, yeah, you can, I might stop for a minute. But yeah, man, I can't write cursive like that. Not good, at least. But I can write in it, but not the proper way. Because back then when they were teaching it, I don't know, I was never good at like the little floral embellishments and stuff. And there's certain rules on when you can connect and when you don't connect. And then so I don't know, I kind of created my own version of cursive, which isn't real cursive at the end of the day. Like they use it like this. That's not how I would they have a my F isn't even like that. They have an F like that. My F is like, it's weird. But anyway,
Sean, I want you to read this.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that was extraordinary but somewhat gauche.
Do you understand it?
Clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat weird looking.
I want you to read this.
I don't trust. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. Extraordinary but not in a good way.
This is why you make your kids read every single day.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
Sean,
they did okay, but they didn't really do that good either, ma'am. So no reason to brag. Anyway, anyway. But this is the problem with our people, is that our people are getting, dumber by the second. All right, I'd say minute, but it is legitimately by the second. But so anyway, going back to this video, why this is, I'm gonna show you how easy it is to learn something, folks. All right, I learned a word today, just a minute ago, on knowing what nim means. It goes back to nomen, all right, which means name. So antonym is, anto, name. That nim part, it means name. So you're not allergic to learning, Jake. I mean, you can do it, but I ain't looking that shit up. It all the way back with Chris Rock. All right, let's go and watch it. Let's go and watch this, because this is still prevalent to this day. Our people don't want to know.
than not knowing the answer to your question. Just ask a nigga a question. Any nigga. Hey, nigga, what's the capital of Zaire? I don't know that shit. Keeping it real. Niggas love to keep it real. Real dumb.
Yep. Real dumb. Oh, that's one of my favorite fucking things that Chris Rock ever said in his stand-up, man. That one was fucking hilarious. I'm just keeping it real. Real dumb. Right? Don't want to look anything up. So let's go and look something up. And did you know you can do this? Did you know what this is? This is a search bar. Search bar. Did you know that? Did you know what a search bar is? We need to teach you like fucking children, Jake. God damn. All right? And I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Jake. These white people out here are just as dumb as shit. But you got to realize, man, our people got to be smart. Anything that the white man does, you have to be able to do it fucking 10 times better. All right? That every black child's been through this fucking conversation, right? Anything that they do, you got to be able to do it better. Why? Because they're always going to be gunning for you, and they're always going to be coming out, and they're always going to try to make you look worse. They're not trying to make white people look dumb. They're trying to make you look dumb. And when you're acting dumb, guess what? Like the title of the lesson, our people love helping the white man make us look stupid. Okay? You got to work extra. All right? You got to be the most advanced, intellectual individual that you can possibly be, Jake. Right? Because you know they're gunning for you, man. So this is how you search. Why doesn't... And now, I mean, AI is out here to the point where you don't even really have to formulate a thought, right? And I wish there wasn't AI everywhere as it is, right? Because it's kind of fucking taken over, but I wish you could just get a regular Google search. But now half the time, AI is going to give you the best fucking search result because and you have people, I don't use AI at all. I don't use AI. I will never use AI. I hate AI. I'm anti-AI. And I'm like, well, guess what? Google even admitted that their search bar isn't even, it uses AI now. Okay? Their whole search, their normal, regular, hard-coded search that it used to be, scouring through the internet, they don't have a search engine anymore. Their engine is the AI. The AI is the one that's, it's basically like, machine learning. All right, it's basically like generative AI that's just gonna scour the internet for you. So you have to use that. But why doesn't bread break apart in water? And I looked this up, all right, several days ago, and it's because of gluten primarily. And I already knew it was because of gluten, because gluten, if you know anything about gluten is essentially like a bread glue. It almost sounds like it in the name, glue. Tin, but that's not why it's named that. But it's a glue. Essentially, it's a glue. It holds bread together. And I know this. Why do I know this? Because my mom has an allergy to gluten, and that, I have an allergy to gluten. She has what is that shit called? It's a real thing. Gluten allergy name. It's celiac disease. Yeah, celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder. Eating gluten damages the small intestine. It's a gluten-sensitive enteropathy. And again, Jake, those aren't words that you need to specifically know. They're nice to know, but these are medical terms. I like to know medical terminology, but medical terminology isn't as important to the average man. Regular literature, like language arts words are celiac sprue or non-topical sprue. So yeah, so you can actually legitimately attack her intestine. So it's not like these people, you got a lot of these white people like, oh my god, I'm allergic to gluten. You're not. It just bloats you. It'll actually attack her intestine. So that's why I knew about it. And the reason I knew about gluten being a bread is because holding bread together is because she has to get gluten-free bread, and that shit crumbles away. That shit doesn't hold together. And why doesn't it hold together? Because it doesn't have the gluten. It's gluten-free. So it falls apart. Gluten holds things together. And the other thing on top of that, I believe, is like starch, right? Why doesn't bread break apart in water? Gluten and starch gelatinization. Okay? Bread doesn't instantly break apart in water because of gluten and starch gelatinization. Gelatin is what? When things coagulate. So it coagulates and keeps things together, essentially. It's not all, gelatinization isn't always coagulation, but it's kind of like the same. If you look at gelatinization, it says starch gelatinization is an irreversible process where the starch and water are heated, causing starch granules to swell, absorb water, and lose their crystalline structure. And you see how it kind of comes like jelly, gelatinous type, right? Coagulated, right? That's more of a term for blood and stuff, but if you go and look up the word coagulate, okay, is to change a liquid into a thickened semi-solid, like a gel or a clot, or like a like a gel. All right, gelatinization, gel. It's in the name, gelatinize. So it would be coagulation. So it says when flour and water mix, proteins form gluten, and this is, mind you, this happens naturally. It's a natural process. Okay, it's a natural gelatinization process that happens when you mix. All right. These things, as we're saying, when water and flour mix, that it happens. It's not, nobody put gluten into it. All right, you can take gluten out of something, but they don't put gluten into the bread. Well, I mean, maybe they do in some instances, but no, when you use flour and water, it formulates gluten and the starch, and they bond together. All right, remember that word covalent? They have a bond, okay, and they latch together, holding them together like your hands, you know, when you put them together and you try to pull them apart. Well, you know, when you interlace your fingers, all right, there's going to have that little bit of friction when you lock. It's going to be like that, okay? It says, when flour and water mix, proteins form gluten, creating a tough, starchy web. So it's like a web. It's the same thing like a spider web. It holds things together. Well, that's why the bread's not fucking falling apart and going anywhere, right? It says, while water softens bread by entering air pockets, this web holds the dough together. That's why you saw it did soften it. When she was squeezing it, it was soft, but she had to actually physically grab it and start tearing it for it to actually rip, all right? And it'll soften it, all right, and it'll rip easier than if it wasn't wet, but at the end of the day, it's being held together because of the starches and the proteins and the glutens and all these different things that are creating this web, all right? Learn it, Jake. Right? Learn it, Jake. Learn it. Learn it. Learn it. Okay? Says, look, bread should have me. I bet they're making fun of someone that talked about it. I'm logged into my page. Let me see. What are they putting in the bread? Oh, here's another video. Is it Jake?
On TikTok, the whole bread thing.
No, oh my gosh. Okay, good.
This is Sarah.
At least we got an Edomite for once.
Honey wheat.
Notice how he's got the hardest fucking end of the bread. He's got the butt end of the bread.
It's basically a sponge. Just like the video showed, I decided to try it. What are they putting in this bread? So this is an end piece, right? Or whatever you call it. So I got a regular piece sitting here. So I'm gonna try it.
Since when should bread immediately start breaking apart when in contact with water? You realize you wouldn't be able to eat a fucking sandwich like that? The mayo holds a lot of moisture, and mustard and ketchup holds a lot of moisture, as does the turkey or the ham or the beef or whatever you're putting on it. As soon as you put that on the bread, because of the moistures in the meats in the condiments, your bread would start falling apart. You fucking moron. Do you not realize that? Oh my god, our people are fucking dumb. And Esau too, thankfully. Thankfully we have at least one Edomite out here showing it's not just us. Good lord. Fucking retard. Right? That's all these fucking people. It's soy lecithin and cellulose gum. They put it in for consistent structure and texture. It helps the gluten hold together better, including when what? Nothing bad about these ingredients, but it will make it slightly chewier and spongier than traditional bread. Well, you know, and only some add soy lecithin and cellulose. If you get the more natural breads, they're not going to have any of those things. I don't know if you know about this. There's breads out there like sourdough, and I've gotten them before, that only have like 3 fucking ingredients. 3 fucking ingredients. And it's like salt, the sourdough, and then usually like a citric acid or something like that. And citric acid is bad. Well, it's not the best, but citric acid it's a preservative, but where does it come from? All right, where does citric acid come from? Well, it's in the name, citric, from citrus, acid. Okay, where does citric acid come from? Lemons, limes, oranges, all right? And you can actually use these things naturally to preserve. Look, will putting lemon juice in bread help it stay longer? And it should say yes. Yes. Adding lemon juice can help your bread stay longer. It can typically extend shelf life by 3 to 4 additional days. You want to know why? Because it's a preservative. It's a natural preservative. Jake here, preservative. Oh, hell, the preservatives and shit. Preservative. There's different types of preservatives. There's natural, and then there's chemical preservatives. Every time you see a chemical name, citric acid, that just means citrus juice. That's all it means. But a lot of the time it is, you know, again, extracted in a lab. So, but still, there is natural citric acid. Again, there's natural ones and there's not natural acids. All right, there's chemically synthesized and then there's non-chemically synthesized, i.e. naturally occurring. Learn your shit, Jake. Stop being a fucking retard. Everyone's dumb, man. My God, that's the one thing when you come to this truth, you realize how dumb everyone is. Everyone's just a fucking idiot. You know, they don't look into things. They don't do their research. They're not looking into things. They're not looking they'll see a word like, well, maltodextrin is not particularly good for you because I believe it's just pretty much glucose. Let me see, maltodextrin. I could be wrong. Maltodextrin is a highly processed white powder derived from plant starches like corn, rice, wheat, and potato. Is maltodextrin glucose? Yeah, so it's not exactly glucose, but it's made entirely from glucose molecules. If you don't know about anything glucose is which you have too much of it, you can end up diabetic. All right, but anyway, because it has an effect on insulin. And cortisol levels. There's a bunch. I'm not going to go into that tangent, but there's a lot going into that. I'm not the most knowledgeable about that, but I do know those things. But it says, I hate to break it to this guy, but the ingredient list is on the bag. I also make sourdough, and if you want to go down that route, you'll be happy with the result of soaking your bread under the tap. It tastes way better, too. Well, no, sourdough doesn't break under water. All right? No, I've never seen that happen. Like I said, when I get bread at home, I usually eat sourdough. Because sourdough is just the fucking best bread. It tastes good. And it's usually the breads you can find with the lesser ingredients. But anyway, bread should immediately disintegrate. And it's from this page, I Am Very Culinary. There's a page called I Am Very Smart. And it's these people that are acting like they're very smart, but they're not. Well, this is I Am Very Culinary. People thinking they know about food when they don't. Let's see what people are saying about this. Hey, that's me above the original commenter. I was only trying to explain what rage bait was, but I've had all different types of breads in America. Let's see. Ice should immediately disintegrate when it's 30 Fahrenheit. Yeah, well, my ice should be melting right now. It should be instantly gone. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Here we go. Look, trenchers, bread bowls, French dip, open face sandwiches, mopping up sauces and gravies, and even just being able to put condiments on dressing sandwiches. You wouldn't be able to do that, Jake. You wouldn't be able to do that, E. You wouldn't be able to do that if the fucking bread just fall apart instantly upon contact with moisture. My God, these people are fucking dumb. God, we're living in idiocracy. We're living in idiocracy. We really are. All right, the modern day idiocracy. If you don't know what it is, it's a movie. And I've never even seen the movie. I've seen bits and pieces. And honestly, I don't even know if I could stomach to see the movie. God, man. And what are they putting in the bread? And everyone's talking about it. I'm glad that everyone's talking about this shit and it's all over. What are they putting in the bread? Oh my God. Whole bread thing he done seen on that TikTok. Yeah, that's that Southern intelligence right there. You know, there are intelligent people in the South, but shit, there's a lot of people that aren't either. It says it's almost as if bread is porous. Americans in the comment section thinking this is normal. Let's see. They're thinking this is normal. As American companies need to know how to make bread hardly survive all the bullets. I don't know if that guy's with the video or against the video, but no, it is completely normal. And people are talking about on the original post, this post over here that I was at. People are talking about this is why I make my own bread. Look, I know the bread was toxic when none of the birds will even eat it anymore. I bet they still would. I bet they would. All right, and you're not supposed to feed bread to birds anyway. It ferments in their stomach and it hurts them. Look, bread is actually so bad for birds because it causes stomach. Again, you don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. Have some fucking knowledge. My God, I hate retards. I really do. How long have we been going on this rant? Almost an hour. Let's see. Started baking 3 months ago. Stress reliever. Tastes better and I feel better. Well, good. That's good. You should bake your own bread, really, because they can always hide specific chemicals in there. But but your bread's still gonna fucking not dissolve. Ducks won't even eat store bread. They're not supposed to. You're not supposed to feed bread to ducks. You're not supposed to. Look, ducks are not supposed to eat bread in the first place. Because you're fucking a moron. Why are you yelling? Because you're a moron, man. Because you're fucking dumb. My God. Honestly. It says, it's amazing the general public does not understand gluten. Oh my God, I'm liking it. There you go. The longer you keep gluten kneading that dough, the tougher it gets. Basically, it's all gluten. A natural chemical process. It says this is why stuff like this should be illegal. Misinformation, no research on the subject, dumb enough to look stupid in front of the intellects. I mean, I wouldn't say it should be illegal, all right, because I'm not with the suppression of any information. Okay? It's like they said, what was that? First they came for the all right? And this is why freedom of speech is so popular, all right? It's so important. Okay, first they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came out for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then you have this part. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I'm not a Jew. But then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. See, that's the problem, all right? Once you, and this is from the Holocaust Memorial, and it has that famous saying, but that saying has a lot of validity to it, even though it's about the 1948ers, because if you demonize all freedom of speech, then they can do a blanket term and get rid of all freedom of speech. And just because some Jewish person, they should have the freedom of speech, all right, in the current society that we're in. Why? Even though they're wrong. Same thing with Christians. They should have the freedom of speech. They should have the freedom of being dumb. Because why? Because if someone says, I don't like what you say, I'm going to silence you, then guess what? Look at what we're doing, okay? Just because what we're doing, a lot of people don't agree with that. Does that mean they should be able to silence us and get us taken off and make what we do illegal? No. But with that, we can't be hypocrites and say that, oh, no, they shouldn't be able to speak out. Biblically, no, these people would have repercussions for saying things like that, but we're not in a place of biblical repercussions right now. We're in Babylon. All right, in Babylon, they don't judge fairly. They don't rule right. So if they take your rights, if they take their rights, they take your rights. All right, they're not just go, oh, you can say this, but you can't say this. You can say what we want, but you can't say what we don't want. So in this society, we do need freedom of speech. Back in the day, yes, you wouldn't have been able to come into a temple rambling on about Islam or something like that. No, there would have been extreme punishments for that. But we're not in biblical times right now. All right, but would that be correct to do? Yes, but Esau wouldn't be able to formulate that currently. In the kingdom, yeah, you're not gonna be able to speak out about the truth like this. Try to say so. Oh, fuck this truth. I don't like it. I remember when we were in rule. Oh yeah, the Edomites were in rule, and you were under it. Whap. All right, you'd probably be put to death right then and there. Right. But in this current society, we have to fight for all freedom of speech because you either have all freedom of speech or no freedom of speech. They take it from everybody or nobody at all. All right. Or they'll allow, and what I mean by everybody is that only the elite will be able to say, and you can agree with them and you won't be able to speak out against them at all. All right, that's one of the good things about America. Again, the apostles have talked about it. Not all things about America are, all things about America are bad, but living here is not also bad in every single way, because you could be in China where you can't even say, oh, fuck the president. All right, boom. Oh, so I could say fuck Donald Trump all I want, and that's fine. I'm not going to have somebody kicking my door down yet. But, we're getting there. But in China, if you say fuck Xi Jinping or whatever his fucking name is, can't pronounce that shit, you will lose your job. All right. You will be ostracized. Your social credit score will go down. And they're trying to implement all that social credit tracking and social credit scoring here in America. Right. Everyone's like, oh, we're not going to be like China. Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but the elites, they want to make America like China. They want to have that level of control and even a higher level of that. Order ob chaos. They want to rule through chaos, order through chaos. Right? That's what they want to do. But anyway, this person says it's amazing that the public doesn't understand gluten. It's true. It's true. They don't understand gluten, and people are allergic to information. Okay, false. It's true, actually. However, baked bread should be falling apart if it's in water all day. If it's in water all day, sure, it'll start flaking apart eventually. All right. And again, Nature's Own or whatever this brand is, that's a highly processed brand. Dave's bread is a little bit better. But again, if you look on the back of a Dave's bread, their stuff is not all that great anyway. If you want a recommendation for bread from me, I would go sourdough bread Kroger. There's not the Kroger brand, but there's a another one. It's like California something. If you just go type in sourdough bread, it's Izio. All right, this one right here. There's a couple different types of Izio bread. Okay, Italian sourdough. Yep, there it is. This is the one. Look, 3 main ingredients. Well, let's see. What all is the ingredients in it? Okay, right here. Wheat flour, sourdough culture, water, potato flour, sea salt, and enzymes. That's it. All right, we don't know exactly what the enzymes are. Some enzymes come from pork. That doesn't mean you can't eat this. It's you don't know where the enzymes come from. We can only do the best of our ability in this truth. All right, if it said pork, don't eat it. But it doesn't say pork. But this is you know, wheat flour, 1 ingredient. Sourdough culture, 2 ingredients. All right, well, really, it's wheat flour and water. That's what the sourdough culture is. So wheat flour, water, potato flour, sea salt, and enzymes. 5 ingredients. That's it. All right, it's $6. And, you know, those that are struggling, it's even SNAP EBT eligible. So, boom, look. Right? That's it. That's what you need. And guess what? This won't fall apart in water like that. All right? After a while, it will. Okay? If you leave it there all day. But it's not. I wish I had a piece. I wish I had a piece right now just to show you, but I don't. But yeah, man, this is the problem. And this isn't the only one. So let me get Hosea 4:6. And we've been getting this scripture a lot lately. All right? And as the apostle said recently, all right, the apostle Gabar recently said in a lesson, mocking someone. I don't remember if it was mocking someone. He said, "You always make the same lessons over and over again." He says, "Well, then don't watch it then." You know, no one's forcing you to watch it. And then he continued on with the lesson. So there you go. But anyway, Hosea 4:6, it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children." And really, this is primarily dealing with not having knowledge according to this truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But in general, it's knowledge in general, man. Our people don't have knowledge in general. Okay, and again, the Lord increases both our spiritual and worldly knowledge, all right, by boosting our wisdom and intelligence. All right, that's a little sticky note I wrote down for myself to repeat throughout the lesson, because again, if you're boosted in spiritual knowledge, you're also boosted in worldly knowledge. Okay, and that's just how it works. But that doesn't go vice versa. If you're in worldly knowledge, you're not necessarily going to have spiritual knowledge. But if you have spiritual knowledge, you're going to have knowledge of the world, because you have to understand what's going on, right, to be able to understand what's happening spiritually, right? So, yeah, but our people, you know, like it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Jake is dumb and they're destroyed because of it, right? They don't understand anything and they're destroyed because of it ultimately, because they don't know anything, right? Here's another thing that was happening. It was the whole situation of fucking trying to light cabbage on fire.
Look. The lettuce leaf, you know that's fake.
You know that's fake.
Crazy. Straight crazy.
And we've given morons too much access. It ain't gonna burn.
That's fake.
It ain't fake.
It just started.
And you're teaching your children this. Oh hell. Right? Because now he's gonna grow up. Yeah, lettuce don't burn. No, lettuce doesn't burn because it's mostly water. It's mostly water. Lettuce is never burned. It doesn't burn. But you want lettuce to burn, I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you how to make lettuce burn. That fake plastic lettuce that you have right there, you want it to burn, right? I'll let you know how you can get it to burn. And anybody, I challenge you to test this. Your fake lettuce that's not burning on the stove, here, I'm going to tell you what to do. Ready? Leave that piece of lettuce out for a week, okay? Wait until it starts getting flaky, all right, and drying out. Then light it on fire. Guess what? It'll light on fire then, right? I guarantee it. Because the moisture will evaporate out of it, all right? And it'll get dry eventually, and then it'll burn. Here, I'll give you a little story. I'll tell you something, all right? And matter of fact, a lot of potheads should know this. Back in the day, I used to grow weed, right? Back in the day, I used to grow weed up in, I used to grow a little pot plant up in my house. Bear with me. I used to grow a pot plant up in my house. And then with a relative, All right, not gonna give too much information away. We were doing it legally, okay? Because it was up in Humboldt, California. If you know anything about Humboldt, California, it's known for growing weed. It's pretty much all weed growing land, all right? And we were living up in Humboldt, California, in a very small town called start with an H. What was that place? Hornbrook. Hornbrook. This is where we were living. Hornbrook, California. It's in Humboldt County, all right? Or it's right outside of it. County. It's in Siskiyou. All right, but how far? Well, I guess it's a little far. How far is Hornbrook, Cali? And it's pretty much almost Oregon from Humboldt County. Really, is it that far away? Huh. I guess I was wrong. I guess we were closer to, there was another place called the, there's this river. There's a specific river. I can't remember what it's titled, but I guess it wasn't close to, Humboldt. But it's, you know, in that area of Hornbrook, there's a lot of weed growing. You can go and look up Hornbrook. And if you look up Hornbrook, California, it's pretty much all like, well, this is in the fall, but this is what it looks like. Okay, there ain't nothing out there. It's just farmers. All right, you can go look at Hornbrook, California weed. Anyway, there's nothing out there. Klamath Falls. There you go. Klamath. The Klamath Falls is where there's the Klamath River runs through. Right by there. Anyway. I was wrong. I guess it wasn't Humboldt County. I always assumed it was Humboldt County. I guess it wasn't. But it's on the border. If you look up Hornbrook, CA. If you look on it, it's the closest like place. We always used to travel into Ashland. There you go. Yeah, Ashland, Oregon. Boom. All right. And Ashland, Oregon looks quite a bit different. Right? Looks different up there. Right? And, anyway, long story short, I'm rambling now. Anyway, and that's not important. But anyway, we used to live up there. Right? None of us live up there anymore, so I can talk about it. Anyway, we used to live up there, and we used to grow weed up there, all right? There was the relatives grow, but I used to, you know, help with trimming and doing all that shit, right? Legally, it was all legal, okay? And because, you know, they were growing for the dispensary. Specifically, a dispensary that was up in San Francisco, where we would travel occasionally. And with that, all right, there's a thing when you grow your weed, after you chop the weed, it undergoes, you know, you harvest. That's what's called the harvest. And then you have to cure it. You have to cure the marijuana. Why do you have to cure marijuana? Well, let's look it up. Okay. Why do you have to cure marijuana? Okay. You must cure marijuana, transform it from a harsh, grassy agricultural project into a smooth, flavorful, potent end product. While drying removes the bulk of the initial water, curing is a controlled biochemical aging process that takes place over several weeks in airtight containers. So after you dry it out, then you gotta air it. Now, why is that? Anyone that's ever been a pothead that's got some really, really fresh bud back in the day can't smoke it. Can't smoke it, can you? Remember that? And the people that don't know about weed, they're not going to know that, but can't smoke it. Right? It's impossible. It won't smoke. Why? Because it's too wet. There's too much moisture in it. Okay? And when something has too much moisture in it, it's not going to burn and it's not going to melt. It's the same very reason why you could take a plastic water bottle and put it on a fire and boil water in it and the plastic will not melt. Right? But if you take that water out of it and you put a lighter to it, it will melt. Right? It will melt. Why is that? Well, basic fundamentals. All right? Insulation, water, height. There's a lot of different things. I'm not a fucking what's in there, thermic. I'm not like a thermal engineer. I don't really know all the reason about, all the shit about, thermal bullshit. All right, but I know enough if there's something that occurs with water being pressed up against the side of the plastic that causes it to boil but not melt. All right, and really it's because it's protected in some way. You can go and look that information up if you want. It's not important. But anyway, if you know what cabbage or lettuce is, it's mostly water. It is mostly water. But anyway, watch this guy. We're dying. It's cancer causing. Look, this plastic, when you burn it, it's going to cause cancer. Everything causes cancer. And to be fair, the cabbage probably does. But it's not because it doesn't burn.
See something. What do you think is more likely? People are mass producing unmeltable plastic cabbages, or cabbage is mostly water. And fun thing about water, it no burn so good. Out of 10? Okay, bye.
And I know by that hand, I saw that hand, that's a Jake hand.
Let me ask you something. What do you think is more likely? People are mass producing unmeltable plastic cabbages, or cabbage is mostly water.
Let's go look at it. Says everything is conspiracy when you don't understand how anything works. And again, this is the type of shit that makes conspiracy theorists look like morons. Because again, this is what they call poisoning the well. Okay, look that up. Poisoning the well. What is poisoning the well? All right. Poison the well is a rhetorical and logical fallacy, sure, in which adverse, often irrelevant information about a person or topic is presumptuously presented to an audience. Okay, its goal is to discredit the target, bias the audience, and make it impossible for the opponent to defend themselves to present a credible argument. Okay, and it's, poisoning it. Like, look, poisoning the well isn't a fallacy. It's not a fallacy. It's not fake. It's a real thing that people do. They poison the well. And what they do is poison the wells with conspiracy theories like these things. So when somebody starts talking about, conspiracy theory, everyone's like, this guy's fucking dumb. This guy's like, you're a conspiracy theorist? You're a moron, right? That's what starts happening, right? Anyway. Did people not have a pyro phase? Plastic melts, like, real quick. That's the other thing. If it was plastic, plastic really does melt. This is why education is important. What else? Plastic burns. Water doesn't. How thick can you get? There, English. How thick can you get? Thick's a word for stupid over there. Humans have been using this for millennia. Wrap food in leaves and lay it directly into the fire. Guess what happens? Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Ask Iskar about that. All right. Cooking in banana leaves. All right. I know Ishkar does that a lot, but more so in I know, I think it's any area that has bananas, the Caribbean, they're gonna use this method as well. But yeah, you can cook in banana leaves, okay, and they don't melt and they don't light on fire instantly. Why? Probably because of high level of moisture in them, right? But anyway, a lot of people are just dumb. Anyway, so let's get a couple more scriptures here and close out. So this is Ecclesiastes 2:26. It says, "For Yahweh giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom and knowledge and joy," right? So that's the big piece that we're getting here. But down here it says, "But to the sinner he giveth travail to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before Yahweh. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit." This also shows you that all these wicked people that are preppers, all right, all that's just going to go to us, all right? Lord willing, we're of the elect, okay? Ecclesiastes 2:26 in the NIV, it says, "To the person who pleases Yahweh, or pleases him, Yahweh gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness." All right, and again, that's both worldly and spiritual knowledge, okay? or spiritual and worldly knowledge. Let's put spiritual first, right? It says, but to the sinner he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth to hand it over to the one who pleases Yahweh. This too is meaningless in chasing after the wind, right? And so also notice it doesn't necessarily say it, but if the Lord is giving the one that's pleasing him wisdom and knowledge, well, then it didn't mention anything about the sinner having wisdom and knowledge, right? Ecclesiastes 1:1 has a bit down at the bottom that I want to touch on. It says, all wisdom cometh from the Lord and is with him forever. Okay? All wisdom. All. What does all mean? There's a definition. All meaning. Okay? The whole amount, quantity, every individual thing. Okay? Every individual thing. The whole group. All knowledge. Or all wisdom. Not just biblical wisdom. All wisdom coming from the... For example, that person down at Harvard that's learning something, guess what? He wouldn't have been able to get it without the Lord. And again, people don't thank the Lord at the end of the day because they're reprobates, but the Lord has people that are smarter than the others and people that are dumber than others, all right? And all wisdom comes from the Lord. Any sentiment, any semblance, any tiny little smidgen amount drop, all right, of wisdom comes from the Lord, whether it's worldly knowledge, spiritual knowledge, any knowledge. Okay, if you were working on your 1994 Toyota Corolla and it had a serpentine belt issue, all right, and you were able to learn how to fix that, that came from the Lord. No, it didn't. It came from the Chilton Manual. Yeah, but who gave you that Chilton Manual? Who gave you the ability to read? My mom. Yeah, who gave her the ability to read? Her mom. Well, going back, it's all from the Lord, all right, and nobody wants to give credit, and that's fine, all right, because the Lord's just gonna kill your ass. But what is wisdom? Because it said all wisdom comes from the Lord. Well, wisdom is the ability to apply expert knowledge, insight, and good judgment to real-world situations, while knowledge is the accumulation of facts. All right, not only does wisdom come from the Lord, knowledge comes from the Lord, okay? Because again, in order to have wisdom, the Lord's not going to give you wisdom without giving you knowledge. How would you be able to apply it if he didn't teach you anything? He had to give you the knowledge first. All right, and the wisdom, the ability to use that practical knowledge. Wisdom is practical application. All right, being able to use it. Okay, that's using wisdom. For example, if I knew I had to pick up a TV and slam it down to get it to work, all right, well, I might know that, but I might not have the wisdom to use that. I might know it, but I might not be wise enough to actually use that. Right? I could be a moron. Right? You can have knowledge and still be dumb. That happens a lot. There's a lot of people that have knowledge, but they're not wise. Okay, again, it's going to be hard to explain these concepts, but, those that get it can get it. Those that don't. All right, I recommend you going in here. I'll self-plug. Little infograph that I made, because I do like making these. All right, I think the best one I ever made yet was this one right here. I love this one. This one was awesome. All right, I just made this a couple days ago. I worked on this one for like 3 hours, man. I want to make sure everything was perfect on it, right? I get different fonts and the glow behind it, and really it was, this stuff's easy because it's really just, this is like a bevel and emboss, choosing the fonts and stuff, and then I use the same font for here, but this one I broke it up each individually so I could twist it, and and then I got this PNG of the Lord's hand that's supposed to represent the Lord's hand, and then of course I got these, and then I use the same. I didn't use the same exact font over here. I don't think. Well, it's the same font, but it's not. Maybe it was a different font. I think this is a completely different font now that I think about it, or it might be a same font but without the bevel and emboss. Then of course I use this same font up here, and of course I got its little back end stuff, and then I threw this fire on last minute, and then of course the last thing that I did was this rip and tear where you can see these chariots coming through, right? So yep, just all did that, and I like making these. I want to try to make them every Sabbath because it gives me something to do through the Lord that's edifying. And, something good to spend your time with, right? Doing something for the Lord. And it's something like this, you spend 3 hours on it, well, you don't have nothing else to do, right? Don't have anything else to do other than make lessons and stuff. But anyway, I made this one a long time ago. This is the first start that I did. This is the first one when I started doing it, was obey and follow your leaders, all right? Because a lot of people are, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican. Well, same thing. Look, property of the United States government, both are property of the United States government. And of course, you got the Freemason symbol, right? So, obey and follow your leaders, of course, with the white man puppeteering both. All right, and look how they both, one has, you know, these handcuffs on, the other one has this ball and chain. So, you know, and I like that granny old school, like ripped up distressed t-shirt style. As you can see, that's pretty much in all of my designs. It's even in this design to an extent. All right, but and I got the hidden chariot up here, but not so hidden. But anyway, I made this level of knowledge really for myself to show you the difference. So intellect, intelligence, or intellect, same thing. The ability to learn and to store knowledge. Okay, that's your hard drive, right? That's your hard drive. Knowledge, information that is able to be learned. That's your books, all right, your YouTube videos, all those different types of things you can learn. Understanding, that's the information, that's the knowledge, all right, that you've gathered. That's stuff from the books that you've been able to fully comprehend, right? And then wisdom. Now that you fully comprehended those things, that book, all right, then what? The ability to use that understood information practically to put it into practice. Okay, if I read a book about how to fix a Sega Genesis, all right, well, first I would have to have the intelligence to be able to read, all right, and understand that information. All right, now that I've got that knowledge and I've understood it, it says remove peg 1 and replace with peg 3. I say, okay, I understand that. It wants me to remove peg 1 and put it with peg 3. Now I can use my wisdom and practically do that. I can open up a Sega Genesis and replace peg 1 with peg 3. I'm just making some shit up. I don't know what type of pegs and shit. I've never opened one up. I've opened up other game systems, but never a Genesis. Because they just work, right? I've never had an issue with them. All right, I've had to do it with an Xbox, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2. Never had to do it with the old systems. So it says, and then Proverbs 4 and 7 down here. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Okay, so, but in order to get that wisdom and understanding, you have to have the knowledge. All right, and that's what we do. Through your spirit and power of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai, we give you this knowledge, all right, this information that's able to be learned. And if you learn it or not, the understanding comes through Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. We don't give you understanding. We don't give you wisdom. The only thing we can give you is the knowledge. All right, I can go and tell you that the Lord is a so-called black man and he's coming back to destroy Babylon. That I can give you that information. All right, we are allowed to do that as men. Give you information. We cannot grant you the understanding, we cannot grant you the wisdom, and we cannot grant you intelligence. The only piece in this puzzle we can give you is the knowledge. We can give you the pieces of the book, all right? We can go and read a scripture, but if you don't have the intelligence, all right, to be able to get that knowledge, to understand it, all right, or to be able to perceive that knowledge, and also after that to be able to understand it, and then use it through wisdom, there's nothing else. We're only one piece of the puzzle, all right? The Lord has to help you with all these other ones, okay? And if that's it, so we can't have, well, I don't really understand. Well, we can't help you really understand. We can help you know, but we can't help you understand. If you're going to grasp it, that's through the Lord. Okay, that's his job. That's not our job, all right? We're not going to try to do his job. Okay, that's his job. Okay, he's the one that grants understanding. We just give you the knowledge. That's it. Okay, so, and how do you get that knowledge? Well, Proverbs 1 and 7, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. I don't know that shit. I'm keeping it real. Right? As Chris Rock was talking about. Real dumb. All right? You despise wisdom. When someone tries to grant you information, hey, did you know this? I don't want to hear that shit. All right? Or, hey, did you know you're not supposed to be doing that or eating that? I don't want to hear that shit. Well, I mean, I just thought you would want to know that you're not supposed to be eating catfish because, you know, it's going to lead to your death. I don't care. Lord's not going to kill me for some catfish. All right, and you're being rude by telling me I can't eat it. Well, I'm not really telling you I'm not being rude by saying you can't eat catfish. I'm trying to really save your life. But if you really don't want it and you're going to think I'm an asshole and I'm rude, oh, I despise that. I like catfish. I despise that you said that I can't eat catfish. Well, then go ahead and eat catfish then, right? I'm not going to tell you again. We're going to tell you it, and if you don't want to hear it, that's fine, man. If you don't want to get it, that's fine. All right, but that's the thing. People hate knowledge. Why would you hate knowledge? Why would you hate it? If someone's trying to save your life and say, hey, man, don't eat that catfish. Don't you know the Lord's going to kill people that eat that catfish because you're going against his rules? You're going against his commandments? Fuck that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. All right, then. That's fine. Why would you hate that, though? That's like the equivalent of someone, you know, here it is. You fell off a boat. Someone's trying to throw you a life raft and you say, get that shit away from me. That's rude. How is that rude? I'm trying to save your life. I'm trying to give you a buoy so you can float on. I see. I'm not struggling. I see you're not flapping so well. All right. I see you kind of drowning a little bit. I'm fine. All right, then. And then when they drown, everyone else is going to look at us and say, hey, man, you were an asshole. Why didn't you help? Well, we tried. What the fuck are we supposed to do? Really, at the end of the day, we gave you the information. We gave you the roll. We can't force you to eat it. You know? Proverbs 13 and 16. If you slap the roll away and smash it on the ground, fuck this roll. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Give them another roll and keep on giving them rolls until they don't smash it? Hope that one day that they won't smash? No, I'm gonna take that same roll and go give it to another individual that might be able to digest it. All right, who the Lord is going to guide potentially. All right, and we're not literally going around feeding people rolls, but we are, you know, feeding them rolls spiritually. All right, we can give you the roll, but we can't make you chew it. We can't make you digest it, and we can't even give you the mouth that chews the roll. That's all of the Lord. All we can do is give you the roll. All right, we can hand that roll over. All right, and everything from that point on is the Lord. If you're going to take that roll and eat it, you're going to bite on it, you're going to nibble it. We don't have any control over that. You could throw it in the trash for all we know. But that's all through the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, so Proverbs 13 and 16. It's the same thing with this worldly knowledge. Okay, I can tell you that, hey, you know, bread doesn't, you know, fall apart like that. And you go, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's all conspiracy to kill. There's a conspiracy to kill us. All right, there is. But this isn't that. This isn't that. All right, go and look at all the other chemicals. Go and look at the natural flavors. Go and look into things like that. Hell, I mentioned earlier, maltodextrin, things like that. Go and look into bleached flours. All right, refined sugars. Go and look at those. Those are the things that are put in there to kill you. A bread not falling apart or a lettuce not melting like plastic, even or it's plastic but it's not melting, but plastic melts. That's not it. That's not it. You're confused. Proverbs 13 and 16. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool lay open his folly. We deal with knowledge, man. We don't deal with extra bullshit. We don't deal with our feelings, okay? So here it is. All who are prudent act with knowledge, but fools expose their folly. Folly is a lack of good sense. All right, what does it mean to be prudent? Prudent means what? Someone who shows careful, sensible judgment in practical matters. You know, foresight, okay? Foresight, restraint, all right? You know, really with doing what's right. All right, at the end of the day, if you really want to do discreet, frugal, cautious, and all those things, frugal, not necessarily frugal when it comes to, you know, frugal is more of like a monetary term, but we use those things to do what's right, okay? Doing what's right, oops. But again, idiots don't want to know that, all right? They want to keep it real dumb. Proverbs 18 and 2 explains that. A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover his self, or itself. Right? Here's one. Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. No. It's the bread should fall apart. That's your opinion, man. That's just like your opinion, man. All right. So, you know, the lettuce should be lighting on fire. No, it shouldn't. But okay. All right, buddy. You know, go. Let's get you back to your room. All right. Put on your knee pad and your helmets once you get hurt. And finally, Proverbs 26 and 12. And this one can be a little hard to understand, but we'll break it down. It says, see thou a man wise in his own conceit? There's more hope of a fool than him. So New International Version right off the bat says, do you see a person wise in their own eyes? They think they're smart. They think they know what's right. They think they're doing what that is correct. They think that bread should fall apart, all right? And that no one can tell them otherwise, right? There is more hope for a fool than of them. It's like it. For there is more hope... There is more hope for a fool than for them. What do you mean? If it's a fool, aren't they a fool? Well, there's a difference. A fool is someone that doesn't have the knowledge. All right, there's two different types of fool. There, really three. There's one, all right, someone that doesn't have information. Two, someone who willingly rejects information. Or three, someone who is a court jester for a king or queen. All right, those are the three definitions of what a fool is. All right, as Def Leppard said, fool and a ban. Anyway, so yeah, you know, fool. All right, but a fool in this context is referring to someone who does not have a willingness to learn. All right, a person wise in their conceit, is a person that does not have a willingness to learn because they're wise in their own eyes. They say, no, I know that bread should fucking fall apart. I know that. You can't tell me otherwise, right? Well, there's more hope of a fool, someone that doesn't have knowledge, someone that's generally more kind of stupid, all right, a dummy, all right, oh, which way did he go, man? Which way did he go, right? There's more hope of someone like that, all right, than someone that, no, I know what I'm doing is right. I know that bread should be falling apart. I know that this lettuce should be scorching in a blaze if I put my lighter to it. No, it's not. No. So there's more hope of a guy, I don't know. I don't know what it means. Well, did you know, Forrest, that, you know, this bread, the reason it doesn't fall apart is because it has gluten and starch in it, and it forms, you know, a pair, and it keeps it together like a web? Oh, is that right? It is, you know, because it keeps it together. So the bread is stayed together because of chemicals that are in it that hold it together like a spider web. Yep, that's pretty much. Oh, I understand. There you go. But I know that ain't it. I know it ain't it. There's a conspiracy to create plastic bread. There probably is, but that isn't that. All right, there probably is plastic bread. I mean, they're making fucking fake chicken. They're making chemically lab grown chicken and all sorts of shit. But this ain't that. All right, this ain't that. It's not plastic. It is loaded up with chemicals and shit that probably turn you homosexual if you don't have the Lord dealing with you. It's probably filled with, you know, they already talked about putting mRNA. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P's. All right, you know what I mean. Into the they were talking about it. All right. You can go and look this up. All I'm gonna talk about. I'm not gonna even say it. You're gonna have to look on the screen. I'm not gonna mention it. Okay, but it is not false information. That's all I'm putting on the screen. Edible. You know what? In lettuce chloroplasts. Okay? We propose an edible using lettuce chloroplasts. That way they can, you know, get you all scened up. Okay? Get you all scened up. And they're saying they're researching it. No, they've already been doing it. Look, they were looking into it in 2021. Can you grow and eat your own scenes? Look, and there's a ban. I heard about this. There's a ban. I think it was in Florida. They're trying to ban scenes in fruits and vegetables because they're already doing it. It's already in them. Why would they have to ban them if it wasn't in them yet? All right. Well, because they're already doing it. So, anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But anyway, that's it. That's a lesson. Almost an hour and 40 minutes. So that's the only lesson that I do today. Sometimes I do 2 lessons. I usually do 2 lessons every other day. All right, do 1 lesson and then 2 lessons, 1 lesson then 2 lessons. But if I go especially long, I'll just call it at that. All right. So it's almost an hour and 40 minutes. So that's essentially is that 40 times 2, 80? No. So hour, 1 hour and 40 mins divided by 2. 15 minutes. So that's like about a lesson. That's a little bit over. My lessons are usually like 45 minutes. So a little bit more than that. So, well, if we close out right now, though, it's going to be roughly, you know, around the same amount. But anyway, rambling. I was born to be a rambling man. Anyway, that's where I'm going to close out. Lord willing, the lesson was edifying. Lord willing, you learned something from it. And brothers and sisters, I implore you, if you don't know something, try to learn about it. All right, we need more intellectuals in this society. And again, the Lord, just pray to the Lord that he helps you with your knowledge. I mean, he's going to help, like I said, the Lord increases both our spiritual and our worldly knowledge by boosting our wisdom and intelligence. So yeah, man, just keep praying, keep enduring, keep the faith. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak. Shalom, you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We are almost out of here, thankfully, Lord willing. Until the next one, Shalom.